welcome to your 15th Warrior Group podcast. My name is Albert Ramos and I am your host. Today I am with Emery Jensen. He is a realtor in the San Diego area with Real Brokerage. All right. Today we're going to be talking about what can you do and what can you start doing if you are trying to get ready to purchase a property in the military. Mm-hmm. Emery, how you doing today?
Hey, doing great, man. Thanks for having me here. I'm excited to do this and educate our fellow veterans.
Hell yeah. So before we start digging, deep into, how to prepare yourself to buy a home in the military, right? Mm-hmm. Talk to me a little bit more about you, because I know you're a veteran as well. So talk to me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, definitely. So I was just served 5 years in the Navy. I just got out last year, 2022 in June. I was an AT, served in San Diego, like you said, on Coronado, working with helicopters at HSC-8. Awesome. I was only one command. It's a great time. I love the community, the people, as you probably know too. Yeah. Which just wasn't a thing for me to do 20 years on. Yeah. So while I was in, I fell in love with the real estate and kind of chose that path to continue on outside here as a civilian, So.
Yeah, no, and I know we're going to be talking a little bit later in a separate podcast though, about how to become an agent while you are in, right? I'm very intrigued, right? Because my path is completely different. I'm guarantee you it's going to be completely different from your path, right?
Okay, yeah.
So what I want to talk about, right, is what are some tips, right? Like based on, because I'm guessing you work a lot with veterans and service members, right? In the San Diego area, right?
Definitely.
So what are some tips that if you could catch, right, a veteran, and talk to him like 6 months to a year before they decide to pull the trigger to buy a home, right? What are some good pieces of advice that you can give to our service members when they're trying to buy a property?
Definitely. No, it's a good question, and it's pretty broad too. You've probably heard
100%.
You tell clients all the time, don't go out buying a new car, especially for us military folks. We have this bad habit for some reason of getting out of boot camp. We get a fresh paycheck, we go out and buy a pricey car with a high interest rate. It just kind of straps us down financially, Yeah. And so don't do that. Don't go out and buy a nice car. Try and keep your credit cards at a low limit, below 30% of your max amount. Obviously, that's super helpful. And I'm not really a lender, but that's kind of like the lender's job. They'll tell you all the same stuff too, right? And that kind of just gets you the highest buying power you can to prepare for buying the home.
Okay. So let's break down that a little bit more, right? Because, so 30%, you said 30% debt to income ratio, if I'm not mistaken, 30% or less, right?
Right, on the credit card.
And and the credit card. Okay, and you mentioned that is going to give you the most buying power.
Yes.
Correct?
The most buying power.
So what exactly does that mean? Like, what does the buying power mean?
Yeah, it's a good question. So your lender that you're going to go to, whether it's, Navy Federal, a bank, or a broker that's going to compare all your options, they're going to check your debt to income ratio, like you mentioned a little bit. And so they're going to run your credit, see what kind of credit lines you have open. And if your credit cards are maxed out, it's going to be like a red flag, I guess you could say.
100%.
And so they want to see that you have usage on the credit cards, but nothing crazy to where, you're strapped down and you can't spend anything else on those credit cards. You want to have some wiggle room with your finances, and they want to see that too. Yeah,
so basically, let me see if I'm understanding you correctly, right? What you're basically saying is that if you have responsible credit behavior, below 30%, what that's going to do for them is, instead of them getting like let's say, I'm just keeping numbers here for, simple, right? Instead of them getting pre-approved for $550,000, they might get pre-approved for $575,000 or $600,000 if they had good debt to income ratio.
Exactly.
Right? Okay. So my next question, right? Because that's very good information to have. My next question is, let's say, you have good credit score.
Yeah.
And your debt to income ratio is below 30%. And you get pre-approved, let's say, for $600,000. If a client comes up to you and tells you, oh, I got pre-approved for $600,000, right? What is one of the first things that you're telling that client?
Well, that's kind of a big question too. I guess if they came to me with that pre-approval letter, $600K, I'm going to find out what they want. Obviously, first things first, find out what they want, what their goals are. If they have a family, of course, because if you don't have a family, I'm going to suggest a totally different avenue that you can go to help you increase your income. Or if you want to just have a nice home with you and your family, that's totally separate as well.
Yeah, and down there by San Diego. As a matter of fact, for those of you guys that obviously don't know, I'm telling you this right now. The reason why Emery is sitting beside me right now is because we actually did a deal together in downtown San Diego. I was the listing agent for a very nice condo down by downtown San Diego, and he brought a VA buyer as well, right?
Yep.
And then me and Emery, we've been getting we kept in contact ever since. I love your social media, by the way, brother.
You as well.
So that's why we connected. I was like, man, we got to do a podcast together, right?
Definitely.
So I know that this guy is the real deal. He knows what he's talking about, right?
Definitely.
Now, whenever it comes to San Diego, right? What basis? First of all, what basis do you see the most buyers coming from? Because I know there's a couple of bases down there by San Diego.
It's quite a bit, yeah.
Yeah. So which one is the one that has the most real estate? How do I say this? Like the most real estate, traction.
Right. So for me, it's a little bit biased, because I was on NASNY, the North Island air station over there. So a lot of my spheres over there, my group of friends over there, and I get my business from that location. However, it's not the biggest base down there in San Diego. You got Point Loma over there. It's kind of smaller, but 32nd Street is definitely the biggest one on there. It's I think just call it naval based.
32nd Street.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's where all the shapes are at.
Yeah, exactly. And you got Imperial Beach as well too. Small airfield over there for helicopters as well. But 32nd Street is definitely the biggest one. So I imagine that's where most veterans are going to be going to, and probably come out to buy a home. Yeah,
and for the Marine Corps side, we also got MCAS Miramar, which is also a very big base over there down in San Diego. So what is because obviously we're talking about one of the hottest markets in the entire United States.
Super hot.
So there is a lot of people that go down to San Diego, and then we're like, well, I want to buy a single family residence, you know?
Yeah.
How much, on average, of course, you cannot tell me like the specific number, but on average, how much is single family residences going down there in San Diego right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question because it's pretty broad, San Diego County goes from Imperial Beach all the way to Oceanside, but on the SDAR stats, it's saying a single family home average price is about $750,000.
$750,000.
Right.
Now, whenever you're dealing with veterans, right, or service members in general, range of pre-approvals down there whenever they go down there to San Diego, what is it?
Yeah, so the range, I mean, if you're single, I'm seeing typically around $600,000, depending on your rank, obviously.
Yeah.
And then if you're married, probably closer to $750,000, sometimes even $800,000, depending on if it's meal to meal too. That's a huge impact.
That's a huge impact. Yeah, right, I just got a dual military couple that got pre-approved for $950,000.
Man, that's nice.
Yeah. So I completely get what you're saying, right?
Yep.
So basically, what I'm understanding from what you're saying is that it is a possibility for service members to buy in a hot market like San Diego.
100%.
Right? What are going to be some of the biggest hurdles for them whenever they comes to buying in San Diego?
Yeah, so buying in San Diego, you're in a hot market like you said.
Yeah.
Super popular place to be, and you fall in love with the area,
Yeah.
Hard not to with all the weather, right?
Yeah.
But the biggest hurdle is going to be the competition. You got investors that want to be in the area because of the short-term rental market is huge, as well as the middle-term market. But also home buyers like me and you and our clients, So we see a lot of situations where the very nice homes that everyone wants to be in, tends to be bidding wars and just a lot of competition. You
still see that now, even in this market?
Honestly, I mean, so towards the end of last year, I wasn't seeing it as much.
Yeah.
We had higher inventory, and I mean, holidays probably played a big role too, right?
Of course.
But now inventory is going back down. I have a few clients out there we've lost already to a few bidding wars to some nice homes. Now, not every home is like that right now because of the interest rates still being so high.
Yeah.
But the ones that are desirable, I'm still seeing.
You're still seeing, I'm seeing the same thing over here in Temecula, Temecula, Murrieta area, specifically in the hot neighborhoods that everyone wants to be over here in Temecula, Paloma del Sol, Red Hawk, that southern Temecula area. It's crazy, there's still bidding wars going on. And people would tell me, well, not in this market. Well, it depends on the neighborhoods, right?
Exactly.
Because it's specifically what I'm seeing right now in the market over here, more northern, Fallbrook and up, Fallbrook, Escondido, Temecula, Murrieta, Menifee.
Yeah.
It's real estate is very regionalized, right? But whenever we are in this type of market, it's even more localized to specific hot markets that people that have been shopping around for around the past year haven't been able to get into the market, and now they're able to go back to those neighborhoods, right?
That's a good point.
So, okay, let's go back. We're preparing to buy a home, right?
Yeah.
They get pre-approved. Basically, based on what you're telling me is that home buyers, veterans, service members, and that are looking to buy in San Diego can get pre-approved and are able to afford a home down there in San Diego.
100%.
Okay.
Yep.
So they're able to do that. Got you. Now, how much money do you think in this current market right now they need in order for them to get into a home?
Well, on average, a lot of lenders like to see at least $10,000 to $15,000 in your bank, or if not in your TSP, just to kind of have some reserves or money to pull from if you don't get seller credits to help you pay for the closing costs. You know, since we're low, zero money down, we have that's a huge benefit that we gotta take advantage of. But still, closing costs for the loan to pay and escrow and title fees.
Are you seeing a lot of in your area? Are you seeing a lot of sellers putting down money towards closing costs?
You know, it kind of depends what you were saying earlier. You know, it depends on the neighborhood you're going to, and if you're getting to bidding wars, you don't want to have your offers as competitive as possible. So if you really want a home and you have the money in your bank, I would advise you don't ask for seller credits, because otherwise you might not win that offer.
Got you. No, I get you. And you know, so something that I specifically tell to my clients whenever it comes to real estate is, listen, because this is something very personalized to me, right?
Oh, yeah.
But the people that have been watching my podcast now for a little bit, they know that I don't come from the best financial decision making abilities.
Right,
you know,
right.
like I was that dumbass Lance Corporal E3 in the Marine Corps that used to make every single dumbass financial decisions that he could make.
Yeah.
I was gonna make them. You
Same
know,
here.
that's just me back then, right?
Yeah.
So I always tell people, right, just because you can afford it doesn't mean that you should. Because what's the point of you owning a very nice home if you cannot even put furniture inside the home? Or if you cannot indulge, you know, into taking out your spouse, you know, to a nice, or let's say, for example, if you buy that nice condo down in San Diego, but you can't even go to a Padres game, you know, because you can't afford it, and you live right next to the stadium, you know.
Exactly.
So that's why I always tell them, like, if my clients get pre-approved for, let's say, $750 or $650, I go even a step further, right? It's like, okay, so who's gonna be having the brunt of this?
Right.
Oh, it's just a service member, so the wife is not gonna work. Brother, even though you got pre-approved for $750, I would tell you to stay around $100,000 below that.
Yeah.
You know?
Good advice.
Same thing if, let's say, if the spouse is going to work and the spouse has a job lined up already. It's like, oh, yeah, well, you know, specifically for military spouses, this is very difficult.
Oh, yeah.
Because, you know, they have to uproot their life every 3 years, and that sucks, right?
It's horrible.
But if they find a good, decent job, she might not be necessarily included in the loan, but she's going to be able to contribute to some of the bills that are going to get paid. Exactly. So if that just comes with communication, right? So what I'm saying is, how to prepare, you have to communicate with your spouse.
Yeah.
Right?
100%.
Because if she is a team player and she's willing to put in that money towards, then I might be like, well, you got pre-approved for $750. How about instead of $750, not necessarily $650, but maybe go to $700.
Right.
You know, that way they are financially, because what I am a very good advocate about is making sure that our service members are building generational wealth.
Yes.
In order for them to move on to the next property whenever they move on, right?
Yeah.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah, same way, man. I don't want to have my clients get into a home that they love and become house poor, you know, because you're in San Diego. You still want to enjoy the things about San Diego that it has to offer. The beaches, I mean, that's free, but like, you know, you want to go out and buy some drinks or go downtown to some clubs, you know, or like I said, a Padres game. Yeah. A lot of concerts here as well, too, you know. So what you're saying with, as far as don't spend your maximum pre-approval amount, 100% totally agree. And as far as the credits go, kind of going back to that, if I can give my clients some credits to either buy down their interest rate for 2 years or 1 year even, I'm going to do that as well, or contribute to their closing costs that way. Because I've done it before too, where we get seller credits. I'm sure you have too. Yeah. Where it pays for the whole closing costs, and they end up having zero money out of pocket total, including the down payment, obviously, and escrow and loan fees. So that's also a huge win as well. They could take that money and spend it on furniture, you know, a new TV, or pay off other debt too, you know.
Yeah.
So
and here's what I'm telling my people. Here's what I'm telling my people nowadays, right? If there's a bidding war, that's great, right? But I'm kind of like, brother, if you're in a bidding war, you're not getting the best. You might get the house that you want, but you're not getting the best deal for you out there. Let me put you an example. I know, I think I posted this, but there was a house that we went to see in a neighborhood. It's called Paloma del Sol. It's one of the hottest because the schools are like a 9.5 out of 10 in that in Temecula, right?
Okay.
And we went to see a home that was listed for $608,000. So we went there. Boom, we get into the house. It was a nice house, right? There was nothing wrong with the house. It was a nice house. However, that was an open house next to the other home.
Oh, wow.
And we were like, well, let's go to I told them, like, let's go to the open house. And they were like, yeah, whatever. You know, let's go to the open house. Yeah. They went the exact same home. Exact same everything. Like, they were literally across the street.
Really?
That home was listed for $565,000.
Wow.
We snatched it up. We were like, nope. We got to act on this, right? We snatched it up. The appraisal came back at $585,000.
Wow. That's awesome.
You see what I'm saying?
That's awesome.
Like that's $20K different. That's 20 quid. And guess what? The other home I went to deliver the keys like 2 days ago.
Still sitting there?
It was still sitting on the market. You see what I'm saying? Like it's just crazy how that happens, you know?
Yeah. No, price is important. Hugely important.
Okay, so whenever it comes, you know, because this is the number one question that I get asked, or one of the top questions that I get asked. Yeah. When is it the perfect time to buy a home?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, you and I both know I wish we knew, you know? Because if I knew, we'd all be wealthy, right? Really, it's all about timing for you. Yeah. If you come to San Diego, you got 3 years left, you're not sure where you're going to go next, but you have those 3 years, I would recommend buying, because as long as you have time on your side, it's going to be hard to make a bad decision. Unless, of course, you don't do your due diligence. You buy a home with a lot of issues, right? Yeah. That's kind of besides the point. But if you're buying a home that's good, foundationally, has no major issues at all, and you get 3 years on your time, chances are in those 3 years, you're going to get some appreciation and some equity owning that home. Yeah. And at that point, you have options, you know? You're not going to be waiting those 3 years and figure out, you know, oh, the market's too high for me now. I can't get in. What am I going to do now? Continue renting. Yeah. But if you get that home, you have options to either sell the home, rent the home, or refinance, get the cash out, and go buy your next home at your next duty station. Yeah. Whatever it might be, it's always better to have time in the market than trying to time the market.
Okay. And I agree with you on that part, because the reality is there's never a perfect time. It just depends on where the finances are for you. Right? So with that, it comes to my next question is, when should they be contacting? You know, I want to buy a home, let's say, summer time frame. Summer time frame is PCS season, right? Yeah. So I want to buy a home summer time frame. When should I contact somebody? When should I start the process? So the date or the month that you want to have keys in your hands to your next home, I would say at least 3 months prior to that date. You know, so that way you can get your financials, you know, find out where your finances are. If you got to make any adjustments, make those adjustments before that time frame. And give yourself some extra time so you're not stressing out and feel like you're in a rush and make maybe some bad decisions, you know? Yeah. If you have the extra time, do it. You're going to feel a lot better about it, and, you know, like, find a great realtor like yourself, you know? Yeah, well, I mean, I'll take it. Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, of course. But I'll take it even a step further, right? I would say 6 months. And let me tell you why 6 months, right? Yeah. The 6 months is because I want to, when people contact me in order for me to show them a house, I want to give them as many options as possible. Right. And 3 months takes away one of the top options, which is new constructions. Oh, that's true. That's true. You know? Yeah. So I want to make sure, because right now I have clients that are looking into buying a new construction. Yeah. And they contact me in January, like the beginning of January, like January 5th or something. Yeah. They're not moving in until July. Yeah, that's tough. You know what I'm saying? Like, new constructions, like, I would say 6 months. It took a while. Now that's one option, right? New constructions. I want to make sure that I'm able to put you in a new construction because obviously everything is new, right? Right. However, if you're not looking into new construction, so you're like, well, man, I'm indifferent in new construction. Yeah, it's great if I get a new construction, but I'm really don't care.
Yeah.
I say 6 months because let's say some people, the reality is that not a lot of people are well versed in how finances should look like. Not everybody knows that you need less than 30% DTI. So I would say contact someone knowledgeable, right? Either a realtor or mortgage lender or something like that. Around 6 months, so that way they can let you know. It's like, hey, listen, in order for you to get what you want, this is what you need to work on. Pay off this credit card, pay off this, pay off this, pay off this, pay off that, in order for them to see that, okay, got it. That way, when the 3-month mark rolls around, now you're like locked in, like, let's go, because pre-approvals are only good for 90 days.
Right.
So now you can start looking into the home. And if you think about it, 90 days, that gives you time, like I always do like timelines with my clients, right? When they contact me.
It's important.
So, 60 days ahead, 90 days, that gives you a month in order for you to look at homes and not just be like the first weekend, like you think that you have to pull the trigger, right? That gives you a full month to look around. Then that also gives you an extra, let's say you find the month at the 3rd week, it's going to take you a little bit negotiating. Going to take you a couple of days negotiating that final offer that you really want to put, right?
Right.
And then at the month mark, you're already in escrow. You can do a 30-day escrow. And then now when your DMO rolls around, when your household goods rolls around, you already have a date, or you already have a date and a place that you can send your household goods to.
You're good to go.
And you're good to go, right? And then the realtor can already be like, hey, just do a power of attorney, right? And I can sign up for your stuff, and his stuff, as soon as the service member gets there, his stuff is already in his house that he owned.
Beautiful.
You see what I'm saying? You have to, and that's the value add that it brings of having someone that truly understand PCS moves, permanent change of stations.
100%.
It's like, okay, I understand, man. And specifically, this shit is fucking stressful.
It really is.
This shit is stressful. So I just want to make sure that I relieve as much stress from my clients as possible.
Yeah.
So if you guys are watching this, 6 months, 6 months before, 6 months prior, you guys should be contacting somebody, and I don't know if you are, I think you are. I'm part of the biggest real estate referral network for the entire United States, for military personnel.
Oh, yeah.
So
Definitely.
we can find realtors pretty much anywhere. Right?
Yep.
Yeah. So, let me ask you this, man. I'm seeing this question here. How do you feel about VA seminars?
VA seminars, I think, they're good to go to. The way I feel about them, though, once you go to one, you probably been to all of them, at that point. They're all pretty similar, say the same information. But if you have not been to one at all, I highly recommend going to one, because that way you learn your benefits, you learn how it all works, and you can't have some random bank or some lender tell that you're not qualified.
Yeah.
You can't go that route.
Yeah, exactly.
Because believe it or not, some people are out there saying, you know what, no, VA loan is not as good. You just go conventional.
Yeah, I know.
Go FHA.
I know.
And I mean, it costs more money. It just doesn't make sense to me. And it kind of makes me angry to see people
100%
telling our veterans that, because honestly, it's just a lie.
I just had, as a matter of fact, I had a sailor. She called me up the other day, and she told me that. She was like, oh, well, saying that I don't qualify for the VA home loan, but I qualify for an FHA loan.
Yeah. How's that?
I'm like, what? I told her, what lender told you this? And it's like, oh, this and this lender. I'm like, don't ever pick up the phone for that person ever again.
Right. It's predatory.
Because it not only predatory, but that lets you know that person is not that the VA home loan is bad. It's that person doesn't understand what the hell they're doing. They're probably more comfortable doing FHA and conventional loans because they understand them instead of understanding the VA home loan.
Yeah.
So that is crazy, right?
It's crazy.
Now, one last question. You said, well, actually not question. So going back to something that you said.
Right.
You said you recommend people to have around 10 to 15,000.
At least,
right? And you're in their bank account, right?
Yeah,
unless 10 or
possible.
15.
Yeah.
I think so. I think 10 or 15 is definitely on the higher side. It depends on in my personal opinion, it depends on the market that you're on.
Definitely.
When I first met you, that we did that deal, you definitely needed around 10 to 15 grand.
Oh yeah, it was just hot.
It was crazy, right?
Oh,
and even before that, you needed even more.
Yeah.
10 or 15 was on the low side. Matter of fact, I had the audacity, one of the listing agents tell me, I had a client that had $15,000 in their bank account. I sent them the proof of funds, and they were like, "Is that it?"
Jeez.
I'm like,
"Come on, that's a lot of money for
like,
us."
That's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell are you talking about? It was like, well, the other lowest offer that I got has proof of funds of $50,000. I'm like, well, that's good for them. Are they VA? No. Well, then we have more money than them. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand that. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't understand that.
Yeah.
But anyways, I would say in this current market, anywhere from 3 to 15.
Yeah.
Because you're asking, I'm telling all my clients, hey, we're asking for something back.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
like we're asking for something back.
Yeah.
I'm not asking anything less than 2%, because at least your closing costs are gonna get paid, right?
Yep. Yeah.
And I always tell my clients, like, listen, it depends, right? Like it depends if that's the home, is like if your wife loves it, if you love it, then yeah, let's be a little bit more competitive, right?
Right.
But if that is just a home that you just want to buy, bro, let's go ahead and do the 2 to 4%, you know, so that way we can get them into the best deal.
Right.
Okay.
I agree.
Emery, I think this has been a very productive conversation that we've had. I definitely appreciate you coming down and having this conversation with me.
Yeah.
I have one question. How can people reach out to you if they're trying to buy a home in San Diego?
That's a good question. So I'm on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook on Emery Jensen. Just my name, Instagram, TikTok. Look me up at Emery Does Realty, and you'll find me on there. So reach out to me.
What's your phone number?
Phone number is 619-349-4544. Call, text, whatever you want. I'll be available.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And as you guys know, you guys can always reach out to me. The links are always going to be in my bio, either up here or down there. I will always be available 24/7 to answer the questions that you guys have. And I'll see you guys in the next podcast episode. I'll see you. Have a good one.